Welcome to Mum and Ree. Michaela Vergano. I'm an independent Stepping Up demonstrator, and you can follow us on mumandreewordpress.com. Be the first to place an order with me, and watch out for my future Stampin' Up videos. Today I've used a black cardstock base cut at a A2 size level. I've also used the Do Craft X-Cut Vintage Notes doily. You could also use your own if you wanted. Using the Stampin' Up trimmer to cut the doily, I've trimmed it at 2 3/4 inches. I've positioned it towards the top of the card to allow room at the bottom for a sentiment. I like to use a tacky or quick drying craft glue, such as Sullivan's or Tomboy. It gives you a few seconds for replacement if necessary, and to smooth out some of those air bubbles. So to add some colour to the front, I've used a 1/8 inch red craft ribbon. I cut a 25-inch piece. You need to put this onto the card base prior to your completing the inside of your card. To the cover, and I've used Scotch tape at both ends of the ribbon to hold it securely so that it won't come undone. Now, to complete the inside of the card, I've cut 2 red pieces, 2 inches by 4 1/4 inches of real red cardstock from Stampin' Up, and rounded the corners to match the card base. I've then glued these down securely with with runner tape, but you could use your favourite adhesive. So the inner of the card has been cut on the Sizzix pop-up circle Bigs die. I've also detailed the ends using the Stampin' Up Finishing Touches edgelet. Using runner tape, I've adhered to the inside of the base, of course following the fold lines first of all. Now, once this has been completed and you're happy with the inside of your card, it's time to think about the sentiments that you would like to add both to the front and to the inside. So I've used Stays on Black, a general Mother's Day stamp, and I've matched the cardstock to what I used to cut the doily. I've also used the Spellbinder's Fancy Frame Tags No. 1, and using foam dimensions, I've placed the sentiment on top of the frame. I'll then adhere this to the front of the ribbon, just using a general purpose adhesive so that it fits nicely. Inside, I have used the Hero Arts High Heel Sentiment Kick Up Your Heels, and again I've stamped in Stays on Black and die cut from the Spellbinder's Fancy Frame Tags, adhering it to the bottom of the inside. So the stamp set that I've used for today is from Hero Arts, and it's called High Heels. Firstly, before I stamp, of course, I need to use my embossing buddy and reduce the static on the card that I am going to use. I've used Real Red, Stampin' Up Real Red cardstock, and Versamark, using my Stampin' Up clear blocks to help with the placement on the card. I find using these, when using polyclear stamps, it's really important to have a good foam base. So I've used my Stampin' Up Piercing Mat, which gives a better imprint for the stamps overall. I've just placed them on the red card so that I've left just enough room to fussy cut each of those shoes out after I've embossed them with my embossing powder. So the embossing powder that I've used today is a mix of Stampin' Up Cherry Cobbler and a yellow ice powder that I had in my stash. Remember to always use a piece of paper underneath your cardstock or something similar to collect the excess powder for reuse. If there are any extra spots of powder on your card, you could always use a small paintbrush to remove these as well. Then once you've covered your images in the embossing powder and you've cleared your embossing powder away, it's time to get out your heat gun. And to remember to slowly move the heat evenly across the card images, and you'll be able to see when the embossing powder has melted as the image itself changes. For this card, I've used snips to carefully fussy cut each shoe, and you'll be able to see that I have totally skipped this part in the video because I'm sure you're all able to fussy cut your own images. Once the shoes have been fussy cut, I have then placed 3 of the shoes on the inside of the card so that they stand up when opened. With the remaining shoes, I've put some, first of all, of course, I've made sure that my sentiment's in place, and then I've placed some foam dimensionals on the remaining shoes. I did go a bit over the top, but I do like them to be very secure. And I've placed this where I like them on the front of the card. And I seem the red champagne and the glitter seems to have come up very nicely. The second card I've completed is in pink. It has silver embossing, and I've used a flip of the shoes in the middle so when you open it up it stands up nicely. There's a range of extra ribbons and dies that I've used just out of my stash. So you just have to flip that shoe up and it sits really nicely on its little stand there. The third card that I wanted to complete was a cast card, so clean and simple, just using a kaleidoscope colour pad. And they're my 3 cards that I've been able to quickly complete and finish my first video for you. I hope you've enjoyed. Please look out for my Stamping Up videos, which I promise will be much more detailed, remembering that this is my first attempt. Thanks for sticking right to the end of this video. If you live in Australia and you're the first person to place an order with me, I'm sure there'll be a surprise in the mail for you. Thanks for watching.